Como has been in the news a lot recently after gaining promotion to Serie A.
And it is now over. Spezia have beaten Venezia, and it is Como's greatest night.
It's been 21 years since they were last in Italy's top division, and off the back of that relegation in the 02-03 season, they suffered 3 consecutive relegations, leaving them in the 4th tier of Italian football. Now, I don't want to be all doom and gloom in this video. I very much want to focus on their tiny, yet picturesque stadium that sits next to Lake Como, but we need the backstory to add a bit of perspective. A lot of people focus on the surroundings when they describe this ground as the most beautiful in Europe or the most scenic in Europe, whereas in reality the stadium structure itself still needs a bit of TLC. Those beautiful drone shots don't paint the picture of the last 21 years, but if you take a closer look around the ground, those financial struggles are still clear to see. Now, hang on, I'm not putting out this stuff to be rude. I think it's important that we don't get all sidetracked with everything in the news, all the glitz and glamour of the celebrity that Lake Como attracts. Reality is, this club has struggled over the years, and this ground is kind of highlighting some of those struggles. I think we get caught up with the fact that Cesc Fabregas is the assistant manager to a British bloody manager, a Welsh manager. The fact that Cesc is also a shareholder in the club along with his former teammate Thierry, and as I said, a lot of the glitz and glamour, the celebrity image that Como does attract, when in reality the Como fans have had to suffer bankruptcy in the mid-2000s, leaving them playing non-professional football. They'd go bankrupt again in 2016. Over the last 5 or so years though, things are on the up for Como. They now have an Indonesian owner, the Hartono brothers. Apparently they're the most wealthiest of owners in Italian football. I don't know, but they're bloody rich and they're ploughing a lot of money into the club. Randomly, they've got Dennis Wise. Don't know if you can see him over there in Corinthian figure form. We also got him over there in his Chelsea kit. Yes, the former Chelsea player, former England man, former Millwall man, Dennis Wise is an advisor to the board. I also read that he's actually the president of the club. I'm not sure of his exact title, but lots of British links to the club. So let's take a look at this beautiful scenic ground then. Researching for this video, it seems as though there is some uncertainty as to whether the Stadio, Giuseppe, Sinigaglia, I think I've said that right, will meet the requirements necessary for Serie A football. You don't see many close-up shots, you might not know that some of the stadium consists of temporary stands. Now, over the years, the capacity has gone up and down depending on the league Como are playing in. For most of this past season, the capacity has been less than 8,000, with Wikipedia currently saying the capacity is 7,798. It was originally built and opened in 1927 at the request of Mussolini and named after Italian rower, wrestler, runner and war hero Giuseppe Sinigaglia. Again, hopefully I've said that right, who was a Como native. Apparently, well, it must be true because it is on the club's website. In 1906, the local rowing club in Como would play a game randomly versus some Native Americans who were working around Europe with Buffalo Bill. Yes, that Buffalo Bill. Randomly, Buffalo Bill was the ref for the game as the local Como rowing club would play these Native Americans. The match must have been a success because a year later, in 1907, the current club, the video is about, Como 1907, was formed. So back to the stadium and the temporary stands. You can see that originally there was both an athletics track and a concrete cycling track. Now this is pretty common at stadiums Italian football clubs play in, but you can see Como have parked these metal-based temporary stands over the top of that running tracks, the cycle track or whatever. The Welsh connection doesn't stop with a manager for me. There's a slight Wrexham feel about this end. It reminds me a bit of the temporary cop end at the racecourse ground. It's just the temporary stands, isn't it? These temporary stands are a little bit different. You can see there's 2 and they're kind of angled. You've got that gap in the middle. Recently, the capacity was increased by 1,000 seats, but in its current state, it does not meet Serie A licensing requirements. Long term, the owners want to create a Disney-inspired attraction on the site. Not just a football ground, but a location used for multiple things, a tourist attraction, and so on. Obviously, that's years down the line. Realistically, Como need to make changes now. It's not impossible. I mean, if we go back a year, Luton Town were promoted to the Premier League and they had to make adjustments to Kenilworth Road in order to meet Premier League requirements. So it can be done. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do or what they have to do to meet those requirements, but work has to be done. Will they get it done? I think they will. If Luton Town is something to go by, they had to make numerous adjustments. They were still going on at the start of this past Premier League season, but they got the job done. And there's no reason why Como can't do the same. They're going to gain a lot of new fans, similar to how Wrexham, when they had the documentaries and stuff, you're going to get people overseas wanting to fly over to Como. As a reminder, it's only like a 40-minute drive from Milan, so you'd fly to Milan. A popular destination, you can see why an Indonesian business chose Como as a club to buy. There's loads of potential there, but in terms of potential for this ground, again, as some of it is temporary, I think they pretty much do need to start again long term if they are to increase the fan base. But again, Kenilworth Road, they had to make those adjustments, but Luton Town are also planning to build a new stadium at the Power Court site. Now, I've done a video at Power Court and at Kenilworth Road, so check those videos out after this video. It'll give you an idea of what they need to do or what Como are planning on doing. I know the glitz and glamour of Como far surpasses the glitz and glamour of Luton, but it's similar. I think it's similar. Anyway, ladies and gents, I checked my notes. Historically, they have been in and out of Serie A. They've spent most of their existence in Serie B, C or below. Mostly C, I think, but their very first promotion to Serie A came in 1949, and they managed to stay in the top tier of Italian football for 4 years. Now, they had a brief spell for 1 year in 1975 in Serie A, but they got promoted again in 1984 and spent their longest period of time in the top division. They spent 5 years from 84 to 89. As I said earlier, about 21 years ago, they did it again, lasted a season, and it was all downhill from there. As I said as well, this is a cool club. There's a lot of potential, and especially with names like Fabregas, Thierry Henry, and recently even Jamie Vardy and his ever so popular misses were pictured at Como's ground. Who knows, will Vardy be banging in the goals for Como in Serie A? They're going to probably need to recruit some players. They want names to try and attract people. Maybe Vardy would be a good signing for them. Ladies and gents, let me know what you thought of the stadium, the Stadio Giuseppe Sinigaglia. Hopefully I've said that right. My pronunciations are always awful on the channel. If you've seen the recent German videos and the recent Welsh video, apologies for that. Let us know what you want to see next, what videos, what stadiums you want us to go to, or even just be lazy and sit here in Football Paradise HQ and take a look at. It's all good. Check out the live stream every Thursday, and I'll see you in one of these videos.